All right, folks, welcome to session 35 of the Sphere of Power D&D campaign. This one is the Oasis of White Palm. The party has recently made their way northward through the Desert of Desolation, and after finding several battle sites and uh, carrion and carnage along the way, uh, you have made your way finally to the rumored oasis of White Palm. And you know this is indeed the right place because upon your approach, you are greeted by a flight of Pegasus mounted guards carrying pennants containing the emblem of the White Palm. And they landed and surrounded you, obviously very concerned and in a very defensive posture. However, their demeanor opened up significantly after a short conversation revealed that you had discovered some of their brethren on a battlefield, and the man who had given you a medallion that had passed gave you a medallion just before he gave his last breath. So, upon showing the medallion to the head of the guard, they quickly whisked you away over to the oasis of the White Palm. And as you get closer to the oasis, you can see it is indeed well named. There is obviously a source of water here because compared to the rest of the blanched, parched, featureless desert, there are trees here. There are some buildings nestled within the trees. There appears to be a compound on the far side of the oasis itself. And it certainly seems to be a place of a lot of activity relative to your experience so far. DMs to players. This probably, I'm not going to give anything away by saying this probably will be your central hub through the remainder of the campaign. Now let's get the characters into place. Let me get the screen shared. All right, we'll let that load up. And party sheet. So Kaylee, Mesram, Beckish, Redreth, Barak, and Haig. All over to this new map. Oh, I forgot to update this message of the day for today. My fault. Yes, Billy Joe Bob, our resident bard, tracking the events of our adventures. He's not really there, just in spirit. All right. And here comes the latest map.
Okay.
Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Come on. I have to share one small, makes it easier. There we go. There we go. All different mouse buttons for the different games I play. All right, so please feel free to position yourselves anywhere within two grids of where you currently are. I guess I probably need to unlock tokens. There we go. And the scale on this map is 100 feet per hex. So you're all pretty much within the 1 hex area, but just so I understand your, actually, yeah, just do it inside the party sheet, your relative marching order. I guess I should probably just throw over, oh, I didn't put, Interesting. I think they fixed the maps because I can see the map even though Billy Joe is not on there. Cool. All right. I think that's good.
Okay. Well, our standard marching order is already in the party sheet. The left-hand column is the front and the right-hand column trails behind.
That's right. Thank you for the reminder.
And that's kind of our standard. Were you going to share the screen for the other, for your player instance?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've got it up over here and keep forgetting that I have to share it. Thank you. Not even
I don't see it in Zoom yet.
Yeah, I'm not even connected in to Zoom yet on the station. So hold on a
You
second.
selfish bastard.
Like I said, I'm feeling rusty. What can I say? All right. Copy link, send that to myself. Where am I? Where am I? There I am. Okay, bring that up. Bum bum. There I am. There's that. Yeah.
Ah, there we go.
That's one part of it. And we'll close that out. Guys don't want to see my work chat. And we will go Fantasy Grounds. Da, 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 da.
There we go. That's much better.
Looks like I probably need to open that up just a little bit. Okay, so there we go. That's where you are on the map. River hasn't quite caught up to you yet. So I should probably take that off for now. Though it is pretty close. I'd say you're probably about, the river's probably about 4 hexes behind you.
Okay.
We did the Air Lancer patrol. And yes, as you are whisked to the oasis, and you hear them talk among themselves, you realize that they are referred to each other as Air Lancers, or that's the official name of the guard. Needless to say, flying on Pegasi, they have very, very shiny metal lances. Their armor is not only looks formidable, but you can tell that the undergarments beneath are very well crafted, and obviously they're well supplied. This is a formidable group of people, and you would presume that this is not all of them. They are probably part of a much larger organization. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think you had something like 9 of them surround you.
Okay.
I'll have to double check, but yeah, I think it was somewhere between 9 and 11. But as I said, after you show them the amulet, you are whisked away towards the oasis. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the area that you would be privy to as you are guided to the area. All right, so you are guided that way through the compound to the northwest. And let me see here. All right, so who's taking lead? We've got Kaoli and Haig, yes?
We're usually at the front, yes.
Yeah.
All right, so as you're led up to the northeast, you come past this little darkened area right next to Haig here. Strewn about the charred remains of an encampment. The sand is scorched and the vegetation nearby has died back, though it is recovering. A sign warns outsiders of what happens to those who offend the sheik. You, needless to say, wonder if your direction of travel was predetermined. Now, as you come up through here, well, just before you get into this grove of trees, you do notice through the trees that there apparently is a large structure to the southwest.
Okay.
You continue to lead through around the trees. As you come up through here, you notice a large tent compound. On the northwest On the northwest side of the oasis, lying at its green border, sprawls a great nomad camp, nearly 1,000 feet across and half that deep. Many small tents encircle one very large tent, there being perhaps 100 tents in all. Near to the ground, a 1-foot wide band of green cloth encircles the camp some 50 feet from the outermost tents, stopping at the main entrance. A similar band of red cloth encircles the camp at a distance of 30 feet from the outermost tents. 4 men in desert robes guard the main entrance to the camp, which you find on the west side. Through there. Other robe guards patrol the camp perimeter on horseback. The green and red cloth bands are 15 inches wide. They are suspended only inches above the sand. The green is 50 feet from the nearest tent and the red 20 feet closer. Several pairs of guards patrolling on horseback maneuver between the two, flicking them with long sticks every once in a while, probably to keep off blowing dust. The 4 robed guards at the 30-foot wide entrance. Oh, who did we just lose?
I have no idea.
I'll be Jim. Dan. Dan dropped. Ah, there we go.
Hello again.
Welcome back.
Well, I'm just trying to see if it was me, because I know I switched from cellular data to Wi-Fi, and I wonder if it was causing it to be glitchy.
Okay, well, hopefully that helped. Okay, so the 4 rope guards at the 30-foot wide entrance to the encampment bear scimitars, as well furnished and well kept as the other equipment that you've noticed on the air lancer so far. They appear to be alert and watchful. Every few minutes, one speaks in a low voice to 2 large dogs pacing relentlessly at his feet. Any questions, comments, preparation, or anything else you want to do before we proceed inside the camp? Because that's where they are leading you.
I would like to take a moment for an out of character discussion to remind ourselves what we decided to be open about when we talked to the guy and what we've decided to not openly discuss. Not that we want to lie to him if he asks us a direct question about them, but you know, what we would rather keep to ourselves.
I think we've told other people that we are the ones that have brought the water back. So I don't think it probably hurts to mention that, but
just a reminder, it hasn't made it to the Oasis yet, but given their information network and mounted cavalry, air mounted cavalry, it's probably not a bad assumption that they've heard about it by now.
Yeah.
that was my thoughts. Yeah.
As I recall, we have also been keeping quiet the fact that we have retrieved 2 of the 5 gems.
Right.
But we are being open about the fact that we are seeking the gems and that we kind of did an oopsie and let the guy loose.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me.
But we're trying to keep quiet the fact that we've actually found 2 of the gems already. Because we don't want to attract too much trouble.
I don't like people, so I'm not going to say much.
I'm not a huge fan of people either, so Kaeli's not going to talk much either.
We'll just let the cat do all the talking.
As we turn to Redrith,
Yeah, let the cat do all the talking.
You mean Varric? Varric's got a lot higher charisma than I do.
Yeah, but
that 5 charisma is ugly, and Redreth's 7 isn't much better.
the brothers are still under the impression that you're the financier of the excursion. So
That who is?
so
That who is the financier?
Redrith, well, not
Yes.
the financier, but the person that we turn to for direction,
Yes,
as he
yes,
technically hired us.
correct.
You guys hired me. The brothers hired me. So, but yeah, Varric's 14 charisma is the best of the bunch.
Fortunately, that's not a bad charisma. I've definitely we've seen worse.
Yeah, hey,
I missed what you guys. I missed what you guys were saying. I dropped my phone and broke my headphones. So
Oh, no way.
I gotta go grab another adapter.
Oh, bummer. We were just talking about what a charming group you guys are.
Yeah, we've got a 5, a 7, an 8, a 9, a 10, and a 14.
I'm
Not
gonna
a-
wait to see what Jim says.
Not exactly
Hey,
the
there-
role models you expect from a set of prophesized heroes, you know.
Well, look at the bright side. The rest of us make that 14 look fantastic.
That's right.
Absolutely. I was just gonna say that Varric's 14 charisma keeps the rest of us from getting into too much trouble.
Well, especially being an imposing presence paladin. You know, between his
Yeah.
thighs and his general aura as a goody two shoes, so to speak. Yeah, he does kind of account for the rest of the riffraff. All right, so you guys in agreement? Anything else that you want to cover before we lead the procession forward?
I think that during negotiations with this gentleman that we have to make sure we use the term oopsie when we leave the let the guy out.
Okay, I'm back up again.
Cool. So pretty much what went down was we were talking about whoever's going to discuss with the guy. And I don't remember what you said, but I said the brothers are looking to you as the guy who hired them. So he gets to make all the decisions on who's talking to whom.
But Varric's the one with the best charisma, so he should probably be the one to deliver the news that, sorry, we oopsied and let the nasty guy out.
And if we're going to use the
But
word,
we also restored the river.
and Albie said that we have to use the word oopsie. So if we have to use the word oopsie, I can only follow up with I made a poopsie.
Very good. Well, you looking at my charisma, you do not want me talking to the person. I mean, that would
You have
be
the
bad.
second. You have the second highest, actually.
Mine's 7.
Oh wait, I thought yours was the 10.
No, mine's 7.
No, Feckish is the 10. So the two people without negative modifiers are Feckish at 10 and Varric at 14. And I suspect that one of the reasons Varric even has a 14 is because his spellcasting is charisma based.
Right.
And Ms., is he in cat or human form?
He is probably in cat form because that's his preferred thing. So let me find.
Well, preferred thing aside, I'm assuming that these people, as organized that they probably know that he's not a cat because they probably have somebody in the crowd that is looking for things like that.
They probably
Just a
have.
guess.
They probably have people who can spot wild shapes.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing any banter we had in game between players resulted in Varric going, fine.
Probably.
Okay. So rather than guiding you all through the camp at this level, because obviously you're not this big. Basically, Varric is led with the rest of the party over to the large yellow tent in the center. The largest tent in the camp, made of multicolored cloth that flutters in the desert breeze, is easily twice or 3 times as large as any other. 2 large human figures stand with arms folded by the tent's flap opening. Each wears chain and carries a shield. scimitars, and composite bows complete their battle gear. Within the main chamber of the sheik's tent, two slave girls stand near the entrance. Opposite them, a man, richly garbed in fine silk robes and a jewel-laced turban, sits atop a pile of pillows. An ornate medallion hangs from his neck. A young man wearing long robes sits on pillows to the elder man's right. He wears an identical medallion. Two large and fierce-looking men stand on either side of him, their arms folded.
I'm going to give a subtle bow to him as I come in, and I don't know, see his reaction to that first.
Well, he acknowledges it. He does not stand, but he does open his arms and palms from below in a welcoming gesture. Welcome to the oasis of the White Palm. I am Sheik. Mix up the names. Sorry, guys.
Kasim?
Yes.
No, you're good.
I'm trying to make sure I don't mix up the other names. Yeah. I am Sheik Kasim Aslan. And this is my oasis and has been for many, many generations. I understand from my captain here that you have news from outside this land.
I'm trying to say,
Excuse me, from outside my domain.
yes, sir. Although our travels may have brought us here, anyway, we were ultimately sent here to give you news from one of your fallen soldiers, and I'll produce the item that the soldier. Oh no, wait, the other guards have that, or they just brought us? Did they take that?
They don't have it.
Okay, so then I'll just brandish the, what was it, an emblem item, necklace,
Medallion.
whatever the item was, medallion. There you go, the medallion that he gave to us.
Yep.
We had retrieved this from a fallen soldier who his last wish was to send us to speak with you. We came across much devastation in our travels, swaths of burning land and charred destruction.
All right. I'm presuming you're speaking Varric's part, right?
Correct.
Okay, so if you would go ahead and do a persuasion check.
You know, I was just thinking about the fact that he's got higher charisma, and that made me think about my wizard's low charisma. Makes my wizard almost remind me of like Doc Brown from Back to the Future or something.
Yeah,
I
you're
need to get
smart,
it.
but you're really not good with people.
Interesting imagery there for sure. Okay. So as you first start talking with him, he seems very scrutinizing. He's definitely staring at you intently, presumably measuring each of you up, or at least the first couple of you. And as Varric speaks,
Thinking what a bunch of ugly motherfuckers.
yeah. But as Varric speaks, he seems to warm up to him a little bit and seem to appreciate his words and his decorum. He's obviously showing the proper respect within a chamber of such.
Oh, we're all in the room. We're not separated. Like everybody else isn't waiting for me.
No. All
No,
five,
we're
all six of you were brought into the main tent.
Oh, sweet. Then Haig is definitely standing next to the big, or like walking up to the big guys on each side of the sheik and eyeing them up like, I could take you.
You're going to actually approach them?
Well, at a subtle distance, you know, kind of approach them and like looking them up and down, seeing what they're wearing, checking out their size compared to mine.
Well,
Here we go.
keep in mind, they're standing behind the sheik. So if you approach them, it's going to look like an aggressive move on the sheik.
Honey,
No,
how did the
not-
fight
I'm
start?
not- Yeah, right. Not that close, just enough to be like off to the side, but equidistant to be like safe.
Okay, but you're trying to establish yourself, but not necessarily offend them.
Correct.
Okay. Just making sure I understand the intent here.
But enough to make probably make the guards chuckle and go, "What is this guy doing?"
I did put a note in chat, but nobody seems to have responded. I'm not sure if anybody.
I'm getting dice rolls.
I'm not sure if anybody noticed my comment.
Uh,
I had assumed that the Air Lancers had taken possession of the body when they took care of us. That
I
would be
actually
my
forgot
guess.
about that.
They would have at least noted that we did what we could to preserve it. But that would be a DM confirmation.
It hasn't come up yet, but the question is whether or not one of the air lancers are aware of it. The question is whether or not they would bring it to the sheik's attention and at what point, unless you guys bring it up sooner. So obviously you did not walk into the tent with the body. At least I would prefer.
Right.
It's probably still on your camels, which are here.
Yeah.
I just don't feel
But
like tracking them.
We've treated it as respectfully as we can without, slowing us down too much in our traveling.
Which is reasonable. All right.
So it's been carefully tended rather than just thrown around like a sack of stones.
All right. So after his what appears to be personal appraisal of Varric and team, the sheik appears to open up a bit and says the following. I'm most happy to welcome you to our humble oasis home and wish you all health and happiness during your stay among us. May our saddened hearts not dim the glory of your lives. Now, I would seek your aid in a matter of great importance to me. Hear my tale, and if you be friends and willing, aid me as you may. While many among my people enjoy great health and happiness, there are those who, I am told, wish harm to me and my sons. The discontented are always among us, but never have they dared to act before now. 7 suns ago, Shadala, a young noblewoman from our tribe, was betrothed to my firstborn son, Hassan, and he points to the man to his right. She was the chosen bride because she had, upon the palm of her hand, the sacred symbol. After their betrothal, the 3-day feast began. Yet the place was set and no man knew the time. May Anu guide us that very day. Word came by runner saying that the army was needed to fight an evil Ifrit in the north. The warriors departed at once. On the following night, Princess Shadala disappeared. The marks in the sand outside her tent told of a struggle. The trail ended just north of our camp. Our warriors have struggled to hold the evil one and his army at bay. They have kept us safe until now, but their absence has weakened my position here and made my enemies bold. I am advised that my enemies here in the camp, whoever they may be, may have Hassan's bride. I ask you to help us recover Shadala, the beloved betrothed of my firstborn son. My second son, Chorus Ikoth, will aid you if you wish. And if you find her, then the wealth of my tent and the friendship and service of my kingdom shall be yours. Party discussion?
Haig is already taking it like we walk in for 2 seconds and we're already being treated like his honorary investigative thug crew.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
And we're okay with this?
I don't think he's making any presumptions here, just a little DM commentary. I mean, he realizes that you're competent and he's making an assessment that you're trustworthy. And obviously there's a lot going on in the Oasis. So he's asking for help.
Oh, I'm just
He's not
asking
make-
Feckish and Redreth. We're okay with this?
Well, I'm not sure if I'm okay with it one way or the other. I am curious about his shiny airborne guard that, you know, they can cover a lot more ground and space than we could, basically being on the ground. He has a lot more resources at his disposal than us.
He
So
just
it's
explained though that
curious.
he's been pulled thin because they're keeping the evil one at bay.
Well,
Right.
we were the ones that let the evil one at bay, so.
I was gonna say, yeah, would you rather help
Oopsie,
with this little
oopsie.
problem or let him know
There's
that we
the
let him
oopsie.
go?
Yeah.
Let's help with the problem. That sounds much better.
Yes. I
All right.
no, I agree. We probably should give him assistance. It would be in our best interest. We don't have to pull the oopsie card just yet, but still, I would be
and
rather. I would
when
be
you
rather
guys look at
curious.
Kayla for her opinion, she just kind of shrugs like whatever.
And then I'm going to follow up with another shrug and be like, okay, I'm just trying to be difficult. Varric turns towards him and said, we would be glad to be in your service. We will do what we can do. Mass
I would be-
exodus?
I would be curious if they have any indication as to where any leads, information as to where she might be or have gone, where this
Yeah,
freak
always.
thing would go.
Always start at the bar.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
that's
down
what
for that
that's what
anytime.
tracking is for. We get the second son to show us what they have and see what I can make of it.
But we're in a town. We got to have some good food, some good alcohol. We
Yeah,
haven't
we would
seen
need
this
to be
stuff in
resupplied.
weeks.
We're
Take a
running
shower.
low on rations.
Yes, resupplying is good.
Camels need a bath.
Goliaths need a bath.
We all need a bath.
Except for the cat. All he does is sleep and clean himself anyway.
Something smells like sweat and seafood.
Yuck.
All right, so yeah, okay. So I guess Varric was on his way out, and then you guys were like, ask for leads, and I'm like, oh, do you have any information that might be?
Well, we can get
Uh,
most of that from the second son, I'm assuming.
Jeez. Do you guys want me to talk, or do you just want to be middleman?
Middleman. Just kidding. Yeah, no, if we're still in the presence of the Sheik and the rest of his people,
Yeah.
let's get what information we can. And are we taking any of them with us? Do we have fodder? Are you making friends with the big guys on either side? Are they going with us?
What time of day is it?
Another good question. Is it happy hour? Where is the nearest wine tent?
I think Boss Man's busy.
There is plenty of stuff going on in the Oasis. As I pointed out, there is obviously some kind of compound, large building on the southwest over there. You've only seen part of the map. Most of the area is obscured by the trees, though you can tell where the water is. You did pass that on your right coming up to the compound. And actually, it seems that most of the tents outside the red and green sashes extend directly towards the oasis itself. There doesn't seem to be many services within the compound here. This mostly seems to be a residential area for elite and more well-to-do individuals. The tents outside the sashes are definitely smaller, more clustered together. You can tell there are 3 large tents around this immediate area. Your guess as to what their function is about all you know at this point. But you would guess if you're looking for activity, are you wondering or are you asking?
I'm going to ask him. It would be more beneficial for us to approach this well rested and fed and possibly cleaned. Is there a place where we could find lodging and come back for information after we settle in? How about that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Sounds good.
Refresh our packs on our camels and whatnot, get settled a little bit, and then we can gear up and go look for the problem. Figure out who took her.
Just a moment.
It got really quiet. Did my earphones die?
No, I'm still here.
No.
Oh, okay.
My apologies. There's actually a lot of NPCs in this area, and I'm trying not to get them mixed up or reveal information prematurely. So he says, yes, I'm sure you will find all that you wish to, for your comforts in at Happy Hogan's desert igloo, which you find in the Sand Voyage compound to the south. As far as lodging, I shall have my guards provision a tent for the duration of your stay here within the main compound, if that is to your liking.
Out of character. Did you say Happy Hogan's Desert Igloo?
Got it.
Awesome.
Awesome.
That is 100% correct.
I'll just say my thank yous and head back to the group and relay the information and I'll assume he'll give me general directions on how to get there.
Well, he pretty much said, he's in the Sand Voyagers compound directly to the south. So you presume he's referring to that building that you saw earlier.
Very good.
Yeah.
Sorry, the time is a little off. It's actually closer to 7:30 a.m. And just so you know, it's been about 5 days, I believe, since you guys took the second star gem.
Yeah.
All right, so let me zoom out here on the game map. And which way do you want to head?
I think the brothers are
Basically,
pretty
he bids his farewell and hopes that he will hear back from you by the next sunrise. So you basically have 24 hours to gather information, role play, figure out what you're doing, what's going on, and get back to him. Leave a
I
message.
definitely want to get some eggs and bacon and a shower. I don't know what you guys want to do. We got to head to the south to find. We have to get to the encampment and then to the igloo guy. And that's
Hogan's.
all I'm basically interested in at the moment.
I dig it. Beyond that, ready to trump off and go find Gurley.
Yeah. Kayla
That
is
sounds good.
most interested in taking care of the camels, getting them unloaded, doing something with the body, such that we're no longer responsible for it, because it's just kind of weird to be carrying around a dead body.
I would have assumed that their people would have taken care of that if it was one of their own.
Oh, as soon as they're aware of it, but yeah, since it didn't get brought up directly in the conversation with the sheik, yes, the head of the Air Lancers does bring that, brings it up and says that they'll be happy to take possession of. They're not quite aware of the body, but they figured that you have other possessions of his,
Bring out
and
your
are
dad.
actually pleased that you brought the body back for proper rights.
Yeah, and I would do, and given that, I would do my best to make sure that they have at least an approximate location of the battlefield, so that they can, if they want to, they can go find the rest of the bodies that were already dead when we got there. Because Kaoli makes maps. It's a hobby of hers. Distances are really hard to judge in this desert, but because it's not what she's used to, but she does her best.
And just so you know, I moved Kaylee's marker over to the tent, which has been quote unquote assigned to the party. Not the green
Okay.
one, not the green one to the right, but the one just underneath her 12 o'clock position.
Okay.
12 o'clock on her icon.
Yeah.
So
All
just-
right. So yeah, so that's what Kaoli's doing. She's working on getting the camels settled and the gear unloaded, and locating someplace to, get clean, or at least, wash off the first layer or two of travel grit. Because it's nice to get clean.
Well, there is no flowing water here, but in case you haven't noticed, just to the southeast, you can see a outcropping of water there, which obviously extends a lot further, just kind of obscured by trees, but we can go ahead and I'll presume you'll have a little
Yeah.
more view of it now. Let me open it up.
Yeah, but definitely would make sure that I follow local customs and rules about the use of water. So I'm not just gonna jump in the pool unless I see other people have just jumped in the pool, kind of thing. Just ask, like, so if I want to take a bath.
Can we
and
just
get
say that animals are
clean.
drinking from it?
Yeah,
The water looks very clean and refreshing, but animals are drinking from it.
yeah. So no jumping in the water, but get some water so that I can, take a bath, even if it is just a cold sponge bath. That's better than nothing.
All right. It is now 9 o'clock. My time. Sorry, we're all on different time zones, but yeah, let's take our 10-minute break and
Okay.
go ahead and make any additional plans. Actually, before we move on, I will also highlight the compound, which you should be able to see a little bit more because I'm presuming you're going to go check it out.
Probably.
And unfortunately, the close-up map of that is not quite working at the moment, but we will be able to make do for now.
We'll manage.
Yep. All right, going on mute and meet back here at 10 after.
Sounds good.
Okie
Sounds
dokie.
good.
Okay, I am back. Oh, I forgot to pause the recording. Oh, well. All right, ready? Check is up, folks. Just waiting for two more of you.
Okay, I'm back.
Hey, hey, and we got everyone here. Okay. All right.
I had to eat breakfast.
Well, that was pretty fat. That was pretty damn quick.
Yeah.
All right. I had just enough time to get a coffee, which I was definitely needing. All right. So you now have the map of the compound available, or the oasis, I should say. You have some sense of direction and what is where. Where is the party heading to?
After I've got the camels all settled in, you know, fed, watered, unloaded, and gotten myself clean and fed, I'm just waiting for the others to follow them. And I'm sure Mizram has also gotten himself clean and fed.
We would like to think so anyway, or hope so.
Well, at least fed. You know, cats do their own thing with the cleaning. And since I don't own any cats, I don't actually know how they like to get clean.
You want a cat? Just ask Keith. He's got several.
Cats are nice creatures. They're strange, but they're nice creatures.
No comment.
Let's see. All right. All right, so we're going to give you guys about an hour and a half for personal hygiene, general maintenance. But I presume you're going to head on over to the desert igloo for refreshments and camaraderie.
Sounds good.
Happy Hogan's.
Probably.
Having a
All right. So go ahead and move your icons to where you think you're going.
this is normally sleepy time for us too, though, isn't it? That was the other thing I was thinking
it's
is
9 in the
that-
morning, but you are in the oasis, so it's up to you.
Yeah, my thought was to kind of do what we had to do, get ourselves situated, maybe take a rest, and then come back rested. was, I don't know if, well, I don't know what you guys think.
That works. I mean, you haven't
Yeah,
given.
I agree.
details. All right, so we will then, all right, go ahead and use any of your healing spells or whatever else you want to do, and I will then kick off a full rest.
Do we have, to kind of make that happen though, if this is going to be our hub, are we going to find a place to rent?
Like I said, for now, he's assigned you the tent that the purple arrow is pointing to.
Oh, my bad. I missed that. Okay,
Yeah.
No worries.
And
cool.
we will see what happens after we do this thing.
Okay.
So yeah, you don't need to cast your hut, though this one's not quite as effective. It does provide protection from the sun and heat, and you have guards and a perimeter.
But no climate control.
This is true.
Gotta have the AC, man. It's all about the AC.
We can cast the hut inside.
I think that's what we should do, because I can only think that the brothers are going to have some restless sleep if we don't get that 70-degree.
Yeah, they are absolutely going to want that climate
Sweat our
controlled.
butts off.
The tent itself is probably not large enough for the hut, but there is room just outside the tent to the east there that you could cast it.
Sounds good.
Yeah, basically right where Kale Lily is. There's no tents there.
Cool.
I'm sure the brothers will appreciate the climate control.
Absolutely.
What global warming?
Yeah.
Feels just fine for me. And I like it cold. Okay. So we're ready for the long rest?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. You're safe and secure in your assigned quarters, and the tent or the hut helps even further. So there's no problems with any kind of interruptions or whatnot. You've basically been given free liberty, at least until tomorrow morning. You would presume by then that there would be some inquiry as to your response, but at least for now, you don't appear to be being watched over, under guard, surveillance, or any other kind of clandestine activity. So it's now just before 4:00 p.m. Sun's still up, but low on the horizon. It is probably the hottest part of the day, though. Just probably hitting the peak of the temperature as it's beginning to rain. Camels are fed, your water and food supplies have been replenished. Okay, adventurers, where are you going to explore?
I'm thinking, sorry, my wife was asking me some stuff real quick. So what do you guys want to do? You guys want to check the bar first, or try to find the local hangout spot? Or do you want to just go straight back to the
We're basically looking for
casino?
rumors, right?
Oh, well, the Sun might have some details that are helpful.
Right. I think it's worth talking to them and see.
Yes.
Okay.
That's where the thread starts. Sounds good to me. Back to main dude. and his sons.
Okay, you guys have access, map is unlocked, or tokens are unlocked, so go ahead and move yourselves to where you want to go.
Sweet.
Unless you want me to just direct the whole story.
I thought that's what your job was all the time.
No, it's to provide guidelines.
Oh, okay.
All right, so everyone's going back to the main tent.
Yep.
That's where the Sheik is. And are you looking for the Sheik or for his son?
Probably both, but
Um,
mainly the son, I would assume.
Which son?
Well, Hassan.
Okay, and
Either,
just
both.
just to refresh what you've been told or what's been said and a little bit of insinuation. So Hassan is the eldest who was seated with him, who was betrothed to Shadala, and now apparently is distraught with her disappearance, or supposedly. But he offered
Mhm.
the Sheik offered the assistance of his second son, Chorus Ikoth, if they needed anything. So you do not necessarily know how available the first son. God, I keep mixing them up. The names are too damn similar.
Talk to both if we can.
Yeah.
Kasim is the dad. Hassan is the son. Kasim Hassan. Kasim Hassan. Kasim Hassan.
Thing one, thing two. Whoever has the best information as far as where she might have gone or direction this all is going.
Well, based on that, presumably Hassan would know the most about his betrothed, but he may or may not be available. And he is apparently not in this tent at the moment. The Sheik is there and the guards are asking you, you know, what business do you have? Do you have an answer for the Sheik yet? And
Yes,
you can
they're
see.
willing to help.
Okay, so they open the flats for you and usher you in. The Sheik is there, but his son is not this time. But his slave girls are still there. Well, correction. There are two slave girls there. One of them is the same. Another one is different.
So Hassan is not there.
Hassan is not there.
Is the second son there?
No, neither of the sons are there. Just the Sheik, the two slave girls, and his two guards.
Okay, so approach the Sheik and say, Your honor, Your Highness, what do you prefer? What honorific do you prefer in these lands?
Oh, shoot. That's a really good question.
I'm sure he has an answer.
Yeah, he would have the answer right away. I don't. I'm trying to think of what it's not Majesty.
Grand Poobah.
No, it's some kind of divine reference. I can't quite remember, you know, like
Your magnanimousness.
no, that you're ordained, you know, the selected one, the chosen one, something like that. Maybe it's your eminence. Yeah, just go with eminence.
Eminence. Your Eminence, we are willing to help you in your needs, but it seems that your sons are not here. Is there a place we can find them to get the information we need to start our investigation?
I am most pleased to hear that you are willing to help us. Your help is most welcome here. As I said, we are very, very well resourced here, but I am drawn thin because we are forced to deal with the Ifrit in the north. Let's see.
So the Ifrit is to the north. We should put that in our notes, guys, in our back of our minds.
Okay.
Chorus is likely to be found in his tent in the south side of this enclosure.
Horus,
Yes, he is most likely to be able to help you. Hassan is quite distraught, and quite honestly, he may or may not be able to help you, but if you wish to find him, you'll likely find him at Happy Hogan's.
This was my next question. Very good. We thank you for your hospitality, and we'll let you know what we find.
He flourishes his hands and, the equivalent of a seated bow.
On to Horace.
Chorus Ikoff.
So south of that tent.
On the south end of the compound. So if you look at the map
Oh,
there,
compound. Okay.
yeah. So within the green and red bordered area, you should see one tent that looks larger than the others on the south side.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah, right. We're doing all of that.
Go where
So
you want.
brothers onward.
Dun, 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 dun. So, and everyone's following them.
I think so.
Yep.
No diversions. No one going off on their own. Albie.
Absolutely.
Why ever would you think I would do something like that?
Previous character experience.
I'm being good. I'm staying with the party.
And you're playing your character too.
Right.
Which says a lot, given that it's not your preferred class. All right, so there is obviously activity in the tent. You can hear what sounds like, I don't want to say flute, but like piccolo music coming from inside.
Okay.
Recorder, that's what I'm thinking of.
Tracking. Brothers walking in, expecting everything to stop, seeing guys so large. No, I'm kidding.
And
Actually, it
ugly.
doesn't stop. There are guards about, needless to say. But they apparently know you, and without even asking your business, open the tent for you. And inside you can see a bearded man and a slave girl dancing for him in tune with music.
Master Hassan, I presume.
He is not referred to as Hassan. Something to do with the customs of the tribe. As second son, he has a different surname, so he's referred to as Horace Ikoff.
Or Horace, that's what it was. Master Horace, I presume.
Chorus with a K.
Chorus, as in like a group of singing people. Also.
Let me type it into the game chat, so we are.
Okay.
Not that anyone necessarily spell it for you, but you would hear it more appropriately. So there we go.
Gotcha. So again, try that again. The subtle bow, Master Chorus.
He looks at you discerningly.
Okay. We've been tasked by the Sheik.
Hold on a second.
Okay. Lots.
How do you love all those dice? Good Lord. Sometimes there is consistency in these rolls that really defies logic. And by that I mean it fits in perfectly with the characters and the storyline and all that, but how the hell the fantasy ground seems to know who should be succeeding in what is just eerily accurate sometimes. So in this case, I will share to the extent that in this set of perception rolls that I just made, Kaylee is not only the only one who succeeded, but seriously the only one who even got into double digits.
Wow.
Because she's usually the only one that's really paying attention.
Right, with her buffs. Everyone else's buffs still under 10. Oh, no, sorry.
Wow.
Fekish, you rolled a 10. You had the second highest score.
Did he?
She came in with a 26. So yeah, there's definitely, and this isn't the first time that Kaylee's character, avoids or, makes the dexterity roll that the rest of you don't, or notices something that the rest of you are just glossing over or whatnot. So in this case, Kaylee, especially given your role, what I will tell you, and I will leave up to you to share with your party to what extent. So this is only her knowledge for the moment, but you do get an uncomfortable feeling from him. That being said, he does appear to be very welcoming and, offers you into the tent. He he claims to be concerned about his future sister-in-law, but that just doesn't seem to quite groove so well as he's sitting there enjoying grapes and watching a slave girl dance. He's obviously in not a productive mode.
Well, for
Is
those
this
of
where,
us that
is
watch,
this where I should cast fireball?
Someone's got an itchy fireball trigger.
well, for those of us that watch too many CSI programs, we probably know that this guy's number one suspect.
Yeah, absolutely.
And why is that? Because he's the brother? Or just because Kaylee already has an not so good feeling about it?
It's always the
Both?
husband or the wife or
Yeah,
the
family.
immediate siblings. They're like
Yeah.
70%
It's,
of
it's
the
usually
suspects.
it's usually somebody close. It's usually somebody close to the victim. Whether it's and the victim in this case is not just the girl who's been kidnapped, but her betrothed as well. It's usually someone close to the victim.
Well, this wouldn't
So yeah, can't.
this wouldn't be too inconsistent with what you perceive, though you're not engaged in the conversation between him and Varric.
Yeah.
You-
But so Kayla is looking kind of uncomfortable, but then she usually looks kind of uncomfortable when we're like in like taverns and around lots of people. So
well, the
but
amount
she's
of people thing does count, but this is still pretty darn rustic. You don't feel I mean, it's a tent, but you don't feel enclosed. You still feel like you still got your feet in the sand, and
yeah, but
it's more an accommodation rather than the land being taken over by civilization.
yeah, but it's there's people that I don't know who are around, but I'm definitely watching this guy very closely.
Right, but it's not quite the same for you as being like in a stone castle or something like that, where you feel completely
Yeah.
from the outside. But that being said, again, this is the most amount of civilization you guys have seen since you left Bralazar more than a month ago. So as Varric and him are talking, you do pick up a few things and a few statements that he makes. He's not overtly seedy in that regard. And I say that because, having watched enough CSI stuff, you kind of, myself, you kind of, okay, yeah, he's just staring out glaringly. No, but one thing you do pick up on is that you do feel that there is a resentment between him and his brother. And apparently during a conversation, he reveals that he was born only minutes after his brother. And it's quite clear that that denied him any title or rights of inheritance. So he's obviously got a motive. It is consistent with that. And like I said, he gives at least Kaylee an uneasy feeling. But on the outside, anyway, he seems to be very helpful, charming. He is not overtly rude, but he does call out lapses of protocol. He does expect some degree of respect as the second born son, and he is entitled to it. And he professes anyway to be very concerned about the Princess Shadala, and has, though he may not be doing so himself, but apparently he's sent out conscripts and agents to help find her. And so he's describing that. What he does share with you. Let's see. Where is that? Where is that? He does share with you that apparently his brother was at Happy Hogan's when the princess disappeared. So with that bit of information, if you want to pass it into any specific conversation with him, or have any specific questions, let me know. But I've shared with you all that he is going to share proactively.
Where was he when she disappeared?
Question. Oh boy.
Good question.
Okay. Give me a moment. My apologies. This information spread out across all the different NPCs as opposed to only one place for particular events. So I got to keep scanning through all of this stuff.
Of course. Isn't that usually how it works?
No, not usually. For as well done and organized as the rest of the module is, this is the authors at this point in their time were not very good at organizing NPC information.
Keith, question for you. When they're talking amongst themselves, are they talking in the same language that we are?
Yes.
Okay.
The tribal languages of the Rorindi are ancient and more ritualized. They speak with an accent now, but they do speak the common tongue.
Okay.
Interesting you should ask that at this point, but we'll see if that comes to play yet. On the midnight, he can be found in his tent, lounging and eating while his slave girl dances for him. Okay, he says that he was just here in this tent at the time that she disappeared. He had no knowledge of it until news was brought to him the following morning.
Curious that he didn't know about it until the following morning, but he knew that his brother was here at the tent.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
So it's interesting that he didn't know about it till the following morning, but he knew his brother was at Happy Hogan's. Or was he with him?
I would like to roll insight to just get a feel for if I think he's telling the truth or lying.
Please do.
Yeah, me too. Because I'm kind of suspicious of this guy. Something's not quite right.
There, I rolled it in the tower.
You believe he's telling the truth. You don't have any reason to not believe it. Same with Kale.
Okay.
Still doesn't mean that he doesn't know anything about what's going on, though. Just because he's telling the truth in this instance, he probably already knows what's going on. It's easy not to lie when you're guilty.
All right. So as the conversation progresses, he goes over to a cabinet that he has within the tent, opens up the cabinet and pulls out something wrapped in a large cloth, and apparently has some weight to it, and apparently is loose because you can hear them clanking around with some integrity. And as he places the bundle down on the table between you and him, he unwraps it and displays 3 maces that look to be of excellent craftsmanship and shine quite brightly. And he looks up at you and he says, if you are able to find Shadala, I will provide you with these maces as well. They will certainly help you in your efforts to find her.
Nice.
Yeah, not too shabby.
But you must understand, if you find her, you must bring her directly to me when you do.
Oh, that's a little telling. Does he know of anybody that was with her when she was taken? Who to talk to next?
Let's see if I can find that out. He also does reveal that he suspects the Sand Voyagers are responsible for her kidnapping.
Who's a what's it?
The Sand Voyagers. So do we need a party refresher on the political interplay here?
Yes, please.
Just to answer your question, Kayla, you had the same insight that Redreth did. You had no reason to believe he was lying.
Okay.
So going back to the interplay here. So can anyone recall who the Sand Voyagers are? Going once.
They are the Traders Guild.
Pretty good. They extend from Bralazar up through here and apparently beyond. They are the guild that's responsible for setting the flag markers in the sand that you've been using as guideposts on your trek through the desert. So they have a pretty prominent presence here. They obviously work independently. And in case you didn't pick it up, the compound, the constructed compound to the southwest there is the Sand Voyagers compound, which apparently has a relationship with the Sheik and the Oasis, but it is not part of them. So that's why they have a separate compound. So they apparently represent a separate sect or division within the community of the Oasis. Now, your understanding at this point is that though they may be profiteers, they're very helpful. They're responsible for maintaining and keeping the path open. They provide regular caravans to help guard people through the desert. And again, they're obviously profit motivated, but everything you've heard so far is that they're a reasonably respectable group, except that they might overcharge people on some occasions. This is probably the first time you've heard them accused or any amount of suspicion being held or directed towards them for anything malfeasant. So that being said, you're now aware that there is definitely a division here. If nothing else, at least the second-born son does not trust the Sand Voyagers or is suspicious of their involvement in the disappearance of the princess.
Which is interesting to know.
The only reason he can give you for that, without specifying anything concrete, is that he suspects that the Sand Voyagers do not want to see his brother ascend. But he doesn't say anything more than that.
Interesting. And why does he think that? Not that Elohir herself would ask, but somebody should ask the question. Why does he think that?
Not to mention the fact that, not saying in front of him, but the Sand Voyagers aren't the only ones that don't want the brother to ascend.
All right, so I'm pretty much waiting for direction from you guys in terms of any additional questions you want to ask him, any direction you want to push the conversation, any actions you want to make, or if you want to depart and move up to another location or find someone else to talk to.
What about any of her personal friends, attendees, slave servants, that kind of thing?
All right. It's a valid question. I could get into it, but to be honest with you, they don't even have an NPC section for this woman.
Okay.
So yeah, there's no detail.
Oh, lovely.
There's no detail on her. There's a bit of important reference information. I'm not going to say that she's not an important character in this, but at the same time, yeah, I think the whole purpose is to find her, not to engage with her. Because and like I said, I can make up stuff on the fly, but it would just be red herring material because they don't even talk about her family. You'd think at least they'd say, wow, yeah, mom and dad are been worried sick. If you go find them, they cry incessantly about their daughter and what she did as a 5-year-old, but you're not going to get any good information out of them. There's not even that much. So
Wow.
I presume she has parents, but in order to maintain consistency with the storyline, We're going to say that she's probably the daughter of a family who doesn't live in the oasis. They probably lived out in the outskirts of, well, not the desert, but somewhere further out into the desert. They're probably a bunch of sheep herders. She's definitely a peasant girl. The only reason that she's been designated as his fiance is because she supposedly has the sacred mark, palm mark, or mark on her palm. And
What's the significance of that?
Exactly. You do not know that yet. All you understand at this point is that she has been selected as his betrothed because she carries the birthmark.
So ask him that. What's the significance of the birthmark?
Significance of the birthmark. Okay, now that is something useful, or at least provide a direction. And in that regards, he says, Horace responds that he does not really know. It's simply a tradition that's been passed on throughout the life of the Oasis, and for as long as rulership of the Oasis has been in this family.
These
But he
people have
does
some
say-
silly customs.
He does say that Nadron, the Oasis's cleric of Anu, probably would have more information about that and be able to tell you more about the legend. And you would find him in the green tent. Let me make sure it's the right one. Next to the that's the sheep's tent. No, sorry, the brown tent to the east of the sheep's tent.
To the brown tent.
East of the sheik's tent. So the three large tents towards the
Kill it. Death to the yappy dog.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I didn't realize I had my mic on this whole time. Like, oh yeah, there's delivery here.
Okay, so the second arrow I just placed that points to the clerical tent.
Okay.
So in terms of legends and rituals, family, even history of the family beyond one or two generations, he says Nadron was probably the person that you would want to talk to. Nadron belongs. Chat.
To the cleric.
So is that the next order of business?
I would think so. Considering we don't know anything about her and nobody else does except for the beauty mark. Finding out what her significance to him might be, if there was some other kind of connection.
Well, based on the information you have so far, it would not be unreasonable to presume that he probably would have more knowledge of how she was found and brought, how she was brought to their attention. So, yeah, let's take our last 10-minute break right now so I have a chance to read up on this a little bit, and we'll meet back here at 5 after the hour.
Righto.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. And I'm going to pause the recording this time.
Yeah.
All right. See you all in 10 minutes. All right. So we are now back. And I presume you are done speaking with Chorus for the moment.
For the moment, yeah.
And you have all decided to go talk to Nadron, the cleric of Anu that resides in the tent adjacent to the sheiks.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you head that direction. And you're up by where Varric's icon is. I've got that zoomed in up here. So as you approach the tent, it is yet another one that has guards standing beside it. Description. Second. Not that one. Not that one. A plane. No. Did I get them mixed up? I think I did. Okay, you're at the right tent, but I got the colors wrong on the map. So
Like I would notice.
yeah, especially these two colors. So yeah, for those of you who are not colorblind, the green tent is brown and the brown tent is green. Otherwise, you are in the right spot. So a plain dough green tent stands to one side. The tent flaps are open and inviting.
Enter tent.
Want the Wampus, 2-word actions. Enter tent. Kill
Right.
bear. Scare bear. You remember that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so inside you find 3 individuals. One obviously being senior to the other 2, which apparently appear like assistants. The 2 assistants seem to welcome you. The other one has a coif over his head, has his back turned to you. And as the other 2 start speaking to you, he turns around abruptly and is like, I'm not to be bothered. Oh, it's you. The sheik has asked that I provide your services. Please, make it quick. So yeah, he ends that with, please, make it quick. In other words, what do you want?
Somebody's cranky.
Yeah. We want to know the significance of the birthmark for the missing girl, of the missing girl.
Oh, you mean the palm symbol on Shadala's hand?
Yes, please.
That is almost as old as the tribe itself. Only
Helps
one
if I'm not muted.
Huh?
So it helps if I'm not muted. I
Oh.
can start by saying you're a little quiet.
I am?
Yeah, that's better.
Well, I keep turning away to grab the book. Hold on, let me turn up my gain. That should help. If you get any feedback, let me know. Or clipping.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Okay, so symbol on the palm of Hassan's bride comes from a tradition that is almost as old as the tribe itself. Only one woman at a time may bear the symbol, and only so long as she lives, or until it passes on to the new bride. So that's his response. Any follow-up or come on, guys, role play.
But what, I mean, what is the significance of it? Is there any other meaning other than just one person at a time can have this particular birthmark? What does it symbolize?
He
A
looks
rank or
around.
station?
He looks around from side to side, and he looks at his 2 assistants and waves the 2 of them away, and then
Ah.
gets himself into a hushed breath. The dervish cultists, and he sneers as he says it. They believe that the first bride had a great power over evil because of that mark, but that's just silly superstition.
So need to talk to some dervishes.
What do you know of do you have any inside information of what's going on with Hassan and his would-be bride?
She was chosen by the palm. He had only met her 3 days hence. But we know that she is still alive because the mark has not returned to the altar.
What do you know of the relationship between the brothers?
Chorus has always resented Hassan for being first. But that's not uncommon amongst families of wealth in the desert.
Does it strain the relationship?
Must
Or do they-
most certainly, but it wouldn't be very unusual and highly inappropriate for a chorus to act out upon that.
Okay,
There's no love lost between those two, though.
so you wouldn't say their relationship is of loving siblings?
Strained at best, I would say.
Okay,
But again, I have no reason to suspect Chorus of any involvement. I would probably be looking at the cultists. They have the most to gain by denying Hassan his right, because Chorus has been known to seek favor of the dervishes.
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah.
Are there any dervishes in the compound or in the encampment? Or is there a dervish faction somewhere within the encampment?
Most of them are denied access to the party lands. If there are any, they operate in secret or operate as nomads in the outlands.
All right.
Oh, one thing, you guys did take the 3 maces that Chorus offered.
Oh, I thought they were
Mhm.
rewards for us bringing.
No,
Uh,
he offered them to help you with finding them. So they have been added to your inventory parcel items. There's 3 of them there. And since they are provided to you, you know what they are. They are +1 maces, 3 of them.
Nice.
There's also one other bit of information. There's also one other bit of information that Chorus revealed to you. Remember, he mentioned that if you should find the girl, that you should bring her directly to him.
Yes, remember that part.
In that instance, he asked you to meet him at midnight at the obelisk just south of his tent.
All right then. Don't remember that part, but
No, that was not brought up. That's why I'm making sure that it gets mentioned now.
yeah, okay.
Because he told you to bring it to him and say where, and that kind of is important information. You got to know where and when to meet him.
Yes.
But yeah, he doesn't want you to bring her to his tent. He tells you he wants you to bring her to the obelisk. And what obelisk, you
So-
ask? You'll have
so-
to figure that out.
So the question is she more valuable alive or dead?
Are you asking that of the party, or are you asking that of Nadron?
In my Doc Brown way, I would probably just blurt that out.
And Nadron seems to almost take offense at the question, but responds alive, of course.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
And just to be clear, Jim, it is a valid question privately, but yeah, I probably wouldn't have, asked the cleric. You want her alive or dead?
Did I say that out loud?
I'm not asking him if he
Oh,
wants.
I'm
her
sorry. Am I
returned
winking
alive
with my
or
left
dead.
eye?
Yeah, exactly. I'm asking, is she more valuable to the people that did this? Does she have more effect on events if she is alive or if she ends up dead? Does that make sense?
Oh, and that's
No,
why I'm
it's a
curious.
good question. And to that end, if you want to push the conversation, or redirect it ever so gently with Nadron, he does reveal that Hassan cannot ascend or take his father's title if he's not married.
Okay.
So
That adds a little
whoever's
more
if
significance too.
the people responsible for her kidnapping are doing so with the intent of preventing Hassan from ascending or staking claim to his father's inheritance, then it is in their best interest to keep her alive, but missing. Because if she dies, the palm will return to the altar or to a new bride to be.
Okay.
So it adds another layer of motive.
Yes.
The game is afoot.
Game is afoot, a left one. Well, on a party note, if anybody has any objections, I would like to have access to one of them shiny little +1 maces.
Go for it.
Okay.
I know for sure Redreth is going to do everything in his power to stay out of melee range. So, take them both. Take all three of them.
All right.
I suspect the brothers would like them as well, because they also like to get all up close and personal.
I think that Matt, I think Matt already carries a mace, so I think he definitely would. And then, what do I got? I have the Sunblade and Barathel, so I am okay with what I have.
All right.
So we could give one to Fekish and the other two. Let me see. Let me check his inventory.
Yeah, I see a great sword, a flail,
a Morning Star, and a flail.
Yeah, he probably would like it. He can always put it back in the inventory if he doesn't want it. That's someone else.
Yeah.
But I think that's
Sounds good
probably
to
the
me.
distribution, the cleric and both Goliaths.
Okay.
Miz might want
Dead
one if he was in
peppers, so
human form a little more often, but
Yeah.
mace wielding cat.
well,
We have to figure out how to get him to transform from Cringeor to Battle Cat.
Right.
That would definitely be helpful. All right, so now I'm going to make a DM presumption here, unless you specifically want me to do otherwise. That being, since you have already talked to Chorus, who places his suspicions with the Sand Voyagers, and Nadron, who seems to suspect the dervishes, who are secretive and not easy to be found.
Would it be beneficial for us to go back and talk to the Sheik?
Well, no, actually, what I was going to ask is during this conversation with Nadron, are you going to mention or bring up the Sand Voyagers in any way, shape, or form, either directly that someone else or specifically Chorus suspects them, or just in general to see what he knows about them?
It wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, he basically has a little bit more understanding of the parties involved or the players involved. He might inadvertently know more information as far as who would have a better motive for taking the girl.
Take it away, sir. You're doing well so far.
Yeah, who has the most to gain from her absence?
Okay, so you are going to bring them up, right?
Yeah.
All right, so crap.
I mean, between the two brothers, obviously there's an underlying motive of, if the one falls, then the other one ascends. So he may not have a direct motive, but indirectly, he doesn't care one way or the other. So who would have a more immediate or effective motive for her absence? Which party? The dervishes, which I don't understand why the dervishes would seem other than just the obvious, but
Well, because their religion has been outlawed.
right. But that's
The
no reason
Dukari have
really to
decreed
stand.
that only Anu should be worshipped. All of the pagan worshiping dervishes, I mean, they're not to be eradicated, but If they don't repent or, display signs of the old religion, then yeah, they are found guilty of crimes and removed, not necessarily purged. All right, I can't find his name at the moment, and that's what I'm trying to find. But
Bob.
Nadron deflects suspicion of the Sand Voyagers as soon as they're brought up by pointing out that, well, they have their own problems. Their guild master has also disappeared in recent weeks. And some of you might recall this is consistent with a rumor that you heard back in Bralazar.
One may beget the other. Maybe they eloped.
But yeah, unfortunately, I cannot find the name of that guildmaster at the moment.
That we heard about in Bralazar. How long have we been playing the game?
Yeah, so this is,
Well, yeah, that we've been playing like a year and a half ago, but in terms of game time, you're looking at just under a month.
Oh yeah, all I'm saying is a rumor we heard
a year ago.
as gamers, yeah, a year and a half ago. Yeah, I don't remember.
No, that's fine, and that's why I'm comfortable, reminding you that, oh yeah, we did hear about that. And that gives you some time reference in terms of how long he's been missing and apparently is still missing. So at this point, you are now aware of, obviously, the Sheik and his followers. You're aware of the Sand Voyagers, who may or may not have anything to do with her disappearance, though they do have a missing guild master as well. The Nadron, the cleric of Anu, suspects dervish cultists are responsible, even though he can't pinpoint any and say that they operate secretly. So if they do exist and they're not just some conspiracy theory on his part, you need to figure out how and where they are. I think that covers it.
So the head of the Sand Voyagers Guild is missing. This
Correct.
girl is missing, and everybody's pointing their fingers at the dervishes.
No, not everyone.
Just the cleric
Correct.
so far.
Just the cleric at this point.
The first son has been known to have dealings with the dervishes, correct?
No, second son
Second son.
wants to get favor of the dervishes.
Favor of the dervishes.
He's pointing at the Sand Voyagers Guild.
Well, that would make sense.
Kind of the other way around in terms of favor. The dervishes have sought the favor of Chorus because they believed they had some influence over him. If they could give him an opportunity, he certainly would like to take over his brother's role.
So guys, I say we go try to talk to Hassan. He's probably going to be belligerent about talking about the girl. We might be able to settle him down and say we're not looking for information on the girl. We want to know about the dervishes and the Sand Voyagers Guild, and maybe he can give us some information there. That way it's something he's comfortable talking about.
Yeah, he would be a good first on the list, and the next would be anybody, the last person that saw her before she disappeared, if they had any insight.
And the one last point to add to the list that probably is very relevant is that even though, as you've seen, the Sheik is well supplied, well resourced, they've been here a long time, there's tradition here, it's an established community, his resources are being drawn thin because they are engaged with an Ifrit, which you guys presume is Kalatarius. So he's aware of it. Whether or not he is aware of the connection to the prophecy, that this specifically is Kalatarius or anything along those lines has not been confirmed. But he is aware that an Ifrit is wreaking havoc across the lands and currently presents a threat to the Oasis.
So the Ifrit may
Probably
actually have
also-
motive too.
You probably also are aware to the extent that the Sheik could be more than content to let the Ifrit do whatever he wants as long as he doesn't threaten the Oasis, but he doesn't feel confident that the Ifrit will leave the Oasis alone.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, the Sheik pretty much could care very less about what happens outside of his outside of the Oasis, unless it affects the Oasis and his tribe.
Redrith, have you figured out any ways to expand that your tent, your dome? That way we could just hide the oasis from the Ifrit.
Right.
I wonder if even the 10-foot default area would be effectively obscured from this particular entity.
Very true.
What level spell is the hut? Yeah, it can't be higher than 3rd level. So yeah, Redreth would be
Yeah, it's
don't know if it's-
Liamon's tiny hut.
yeah, Redreth, you would at least be aware that a sufficiently high level being might be able to see right through it. And you obviously, I mean, not that you're necessarily making the connection, and certainly would have to answer the question of just how quote unquote godlike is this Ifrit, but you would be aware that there are beings of sufficient power that the hut would be meaningless to. That's not giving too much away now, is it?
Yeah, this is
Don't think so.
level 3 evocation. Although it does say all other creatures and objects are barred. So
Yeah, but there's exceptions to every rule. That's the backbone of D&D.
Mm-hmm.
They're all guidelines.
Yeah, they're more like guidelines than actual rules.
All right, so if I heard you guys right, you next want to talk to Hassan, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you already know that he's not in his father's tent.
He's at
Let's see.
Happy Hogan's.
Let me get this updated. So all right, so
Buttons.
do you know where you're going? Where you think you're going? Where you suspect you're going?
What time of day is it?
It is now just before 6 o'clock, so it is beginning to cool off finally. There still is plenty of light to see, but you probably only got, what, about an hour and a half of daylight left?
So odds are he's probably at the Happy Hogan's.
At
Still
the
drinking.
Happy Hogan, right? I'm drinking, drowning his sorrows.
Well,
You'd figure if he was the first son or second son that he would be enlisting the Pegasus dude and go looking for his fiance, but apparently that's not the issue.
all right, so who's leading the troop and which way are you going?
Follow the cat.
Well, I would leave it up to Kay Lily. Or Alex.
Sorry. having trouble focusing on anything right now. So don't let me make any decisions. The cat and I will follow wherever you go.
The Happy Hogans.
Okay, but move yourselves on the map. I ain't giving everything away.
I was gonna say the cat could probably, if the Happy Hogan is the local area, the kitty should be able to smell the food.
Yeah, probably. The cat could lead you right there, I'm sure.
I thought we've been to Happy Hogans before.
Yeah, right. Isn't that where we spent the night, or isn't that the lodging place?
No. You were given a tent inside the
We were given a
compound.
tent. Right,
Yeah,
right.
which is where Calla is now.
Yep.
So we're with Happy Hogans in reference to the tent.
So can we Bamf and say that we're gonna follow the kitty's sense of smell? Or does the kitty have to roll for
Grab
smell?
some schmuck off the street and
Yeah,
say,
I guess you can, even though the sheik did tell you where to go. So Kitty follows the smell down. Interesting. It doesn't even let me move shit into the unmasked areas without overrides.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Is it this little gold nook in the bottom in the south? Oh, something that opened.
So yeah, you come through here. And
Yeah.
as you come through here, you notice nestled in the trees just to the east of him there, the obelisk that Chorus apparently was talking about.
Aha.
But he comes around here and let me expose this area. Come on.
Is there anything significant about the obelisk?
It's got one of those Middle Eastern booby roofs. I'm just saying.
The obelisk does not, but the compound, yeah, pretty much does. So let me change.
So Happy Harry's been doing pretty good for himself if he actually has a structured building.
No, okay, now keep in mind, this is the Sand Voyagers compound. This is a walled, open roofed area that apparently is used where the Sand Voyagers stage all of their caravans that come in and out. This is a hub between the lands to the north and the lands to the south. It's a major stopping point outside of Bralazar. Whereas Bralazar is a self-sufficient city or town, the Sand Voyagers compound has kind of had to provide their own resources in order to make the oasis usable. And at the with the permission of the sheik, whose tribe owns these lands or has laid claim to these lands. So with that being said, let's see, where is...
We walk into the establishment and he's like, "Hey, brother, in all of Hogan Mania, what can I get you?"
Amid the lush grasses and palms of the oasis, a wall of white, lime-covered bricks fortifies a compound. Two great doors of palm trunks lashed firmly together stand at the west end of the 320-foot long by 120-foot wide encircling wall. The wall is capped by 1-inch long spikes with a strange green tinge.
I'm sorry, guys. I was talking to my son here. What did I miss?
I'm wondering if there's magic afoot on the wall caps.
White and lime green is all I heard. We're not really seeing an entrance.
Green tips on the sharp things on the wall, so probably poisoned or enchanted or something.
Ah.
Yeah, there is definitely an entrance. As it said, two great doors of palm trunks lashed firmly together stand at the west end of the 320-foot long by 120-foot wide encircling wall. So you're going to want to enter by where Redreth is.
Not by where I am. Huh.
Correct.
Gotcha. Lead the way, wizard.
And as I said, unfortunately, this part of the map is not working that well, so you'll just have to make do with what's on screen. All right, so
Buttons.
there we go.
We hear he is a whiz of a whiz.
All right, so as
If ever a whiz there was.
as you enter the compound, to your left there, the building to the north, standing just inside the gates of the compound is a mud brick building with an open door. In its dusty face are small barred windows with curtains. To your right, solid and stately, the house of the Sand Voyagers Guild is against the southern wall of the compound. In the center of the building's northern wall are two huge double doors. They are shut. A sign near the doors reads Guild members only. As you proceed further down the avenue, boulevard, which is not paved, it's all sand still, but there's definitely serious
Yeah,
construction.
pause a sec.
Yeah,
In the beginning, when we were in Bralazar, didn't we have the opportunity to join the Sand? Wasn't there opportunity to join the Sand Voyagers Guild while we were there?
not to join the guild, but to have them, to pay them to escort you to here.
Okay. I couldn't remember if,
Yeah,
it was, like I said, it was a long time ago, and I couldn't remember if we actually.
Yeah, you could have
Did
hired
anything.
them to accompany one of their caravans, but again, going back to their profiteering, they seemed a bit overpriced to you and you decided to do it on your own.
Gotcha.
As you pass further down on the north, you see another 40-foot square mud brick building with a large open door, and within stands a water tank, 13 feet in diameter and 4 feet high. There are at least half a dozen people, probably common folk, that are either washing themselves or their clothes in this large open washing house. A little further down on your right, you see what must be the remains of an ancient temple. In the center of this 40-foot square area are 6 pillars that once supported the stone roof, which is now broken and rubble litters the floor. Oh, crap. Oh, crap.
What happened?
Well, nothing happened, but something I'll have to address and probably will not be able to do so this session. But behind an ancient altar, runes carved into the stone can still be seen.
Oh,
I don't have that inscription ready for you decryptors yet. So I will have to get that made up and posted into the Discord channel for the those of you who are interested. This
do you have an image you can take a screenshot with quick and just upload it to Discord? Just the basic picture instead of trying to get fancy?
all right, let's see if I can do that quick. Unfortunately, the original images that I have are really bad, and hence the reason why I had to go through and recreate them all.
You can do it.
Okay, so there it is. Let's zoom in on it a bit. Sure, this is the right one.
Make sure it's not a recipe for camel cookies.
All right, are you ready? Ancient inscriptions in Discord.
Okay. Ooh.
And I agree, this is probably worth decrypting at the moment. So
Okay.
I'm going to leave it. I'm going to step away for about 5 minutes because I got some cat issues to address. I will be right back. But I'm not going to pause the recording because I want to hear what you guys have to say. So go ahead.
Liz, I Martech have laid
Up.
are you paying attention, Alex?
Yeah.
Got the inscription. That's I Martech have laid, right? The first bit.
I think so.
Okay. Obviously evil at the last. Awakened evil is the last line, in the center line, I mean.
Yep. Laid up for,
Is it 4?
yeah.
Oh, they did something really evil here.
Oh, did they really?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
I so evil that I feel inclined to actually semi-point it out. And I will do so. There is a part of this translation that is capitalized, but there is no representation of capitalized letters within the runes that you guys have discovered.
Okay.
So you have no way of knowing what that emphasis is on. And normally, pointing out that something is capitalized and thus a proper noun is one of those clues that you pick up on. So I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm just going to point out that it is relevant here. Something in this translation is referring to a proper noun, not a generic noun.
Okay. White palm. Okay, so trying to pick out the. So so that is a T. Time.
And I will say it's not white palm because that is the obvious one.
Okay. Return. For when something would return awakened evil.
Oopsie.
The time. Time something white palm let. I can't get into my notebook either. I think I've done the best that I can, Alex. My notebook is in where the baby is taking a nap. I'm also just realizing that what I was reading was cut off. There's a whole lot more that I didn't see.
Oh, you didn't see the second paragraph or second sentence?
No, it was cut off at the side, but it was like right at the side where it didn't look like it was cut off. It was between words.
Oh, huh. Okay.
Yeah, weird.
Alex probably has it already and she's just typing it out.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. Like you said, once you get used to what it is again, and again, we haven't played in a while, so I wasn't seeing it, but I can see a lot of the words just pop out Great,
Yeah, it's
great power
interesting how
and
you
something.
develop an ability to read it. There we go.
Yeah.
Yes, I was busy typing. I was completely doing everything you guys were saying because I was busy typing. Oh, let me fix that.
Pretty good. Though I
It'll be
would, Alex,
it'll
I
be
would
re something.
recommend you re-look at the last 4 or 5 words. I think you missed something.
Yeah, it
Let's see.
didn't make sense. So I need.
I think there's a word you missed from the translation.
So that's going to be an N. That's what I was seeing at the beginning of, instead of rather, it's an NE, right?
Where?
Oh, yep.
NET. And then YR. What would that be? Is it this? It's almost the same word,
That is not what I
3 lines above
said,
it.
you stupid thing. Is it the same word?
Oh, you know what?
No, it's not the same word.
Hold on a second.
So, yeah, return is right.
Okay, guess what?
It's
What's up?
not
There,
taking my edit.
I see the update.
Yeah, I see yet
I
neither
don't.
from it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see the update to the text.
Ah,
But
there it
I
goes.
do.
Okay.
there is an error in the inscription itself, which I'm going to provide for you. So the last 3 words there you have there are neither from it.
Uh-huh.
There's a missing word in the inscription. It should say neither far from it.
Oh.
Okay.
And again, one of the reasons why I've redone a lot of these inscriptions. There are errors all over the place.
Okay, so time and place.
Okay. So that means that
Not-
word is probably not.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure about that
Return
reseal
to
word. The grammar doesn't quite work.
So it would be a sound. Resal. Is that an L?
That's an L.
Okay.
Hey, that Alex,
Yeah.
put a silent W in front of that word and see if it makes more sense to you.
Oh, okay.
Resal. Return to wrestle. Yeah, there you go.
That makes more sense.
That does make sense.
You're welcome. I figured that would be just enough of a hint for you.
Yeah, that makes much, much more sense.
Feel great power and treasure for when you return to wrestle with the awakened evil. So Martek knew that we were going that the Ifrit was eventually going to be re-released.
Yeah, he knew his binding of the Ifrit would not last forever. That's
Right.
part of the prophecy.
Gotcha. And we have already been to where we assume is going to be the last place, right? We were somewhere and went, yeah, maybe we should. Oh, because we were at the place where we knew we were going to need the seals and we didn't, or the stars, and we didn't have all the stars yet.
So we only got about 5 minutes left, and just to kind of fill you in on the details of the area. So you're basically where Redreth is on the map. The square building just to the southwest of him is the temple that you guys are looking at. Right underneath him to the south there is apparently a bazaar of different goods and services that you can feel free to shop around at next time we meet up. To the north there, that smaller rectangular building is a set of stables. And straight ahead on the eastern end of the compound, a huge dome of whitewashed brick about 80 feet in diameter stands. It is entered through an arch with heavy double doors at the building's west end. This apparently is Happy Hogan's Desert Igloo.
Yeah, brother.
So when we resume next time, you can either do some shopping or just proceed straight into the igloo. It is right around dinner time, and there certainly is there are people in there, including music coming out of the igloo. So it seems to be quite the popular place to be when visiting the Oasis of the White Palm. So I hope you all have enjoyed your introduction to the Oasis.
A quick reminder, just in case you guys were thinking of skipping shopping, we are loaded. We got all those vases with the platinum in it.
Yeah.
So we are loaded.
So it's not so much can we afford it anymore, it's more do we want it and can we carry it?
Exactly.
And if they have dark vision goggles, I'm buying them. Just saying.
So yeah, I'm gonna have, that gives me an idea that I need to go through some random rolls and see exactly what might be available for you guys here. That being said,
Yeah.
our next session is the day before Halloween. Hopefully that doesn't prevent any of us from having our 3-hour rendezvous.
I may or may not be available.
Yeah, I'm looking at you.
I'll check.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it's the day. If it was the day of, I'd be a lot more understanding. But the day before, let me know if I have to make a direct reach out.
Yeah.
I'm getting my garage floor poured that day. I may be distracted, but on.
The effort to
Okay.
participate when you've got other things going on is much appreciated. I've been flexible with Matt because I don't want him to feel like that he's excluded. But I certainly can't blame him for a work schedule. So as long as we're all game, I think as long as we continue to work with each other and try not to go too far between sessions, we can keep plugging through with substitutions and temporary hiatuses.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right up.
All right.
I'll
So
see you guys in 2 weeks then.
yep. I hope
Thanks,
you guys
guys.
all had fun. And yeah, we'll see you all in 2 weeks.
Right up.
Sounds good.
All right.
Cheers.
Bye, guys.
Take
See ya.
care.